this time, we're joined by the victorious Spartans from Michigan State. We'll open up with opening statement from Coach Tom Izzo, followed by questions for our student athletes. Congratulations, Coach.
Well, thank you. I'm really proud of these guys for what they accomplished. We just played 5 games in 8 days, and you know, it took a toll on some of us. There were some stretches where we were good and bad, but a couple things happened today that were bizarre. You know, we beat a team by 20 when we had 22 turnovers. I thought Aaron Henry did a pretty good job on Coffee. He had 25 points, but he took 20-some shots. You know, it was good to get Nick back in the fold here a little bit. You know, I mean, it's not easy to do what he did, and you know, Xavier was Xavier, McQuaid was McQuaid, and Cash was a little rusty, a little sore, and you play that many games in 8 days when you're already beat up is hard. And one of those timeouts when they cut it to 9, I just told him he's got to take over, and like a true All-American did, he took over and had about as good a 2-3 minute stretch there as you could, and the 9-point lead went back to 16, and then we started cruising. So getting Nick back is going to be big for us because I don't know what he had, 9 and 7, and Xavier had 7 or 8 rebounds, and I think Kenny had 6 or 7, and we out-rebounded him bad. And yet I do want to be fair to Richard and his team. We all love Murphy. He's a great kid, tough kid, the best rebounder on the planet. And, you know, it was sad not to see him be able to play to himself. But I think we do deserve some credit for the start we had. And we were sloppy, but, man, it was another championship weekend for us, and we move on to the next one. And I can't tell you how excited I am about that.
This time we'll take questions for our student athletes. Please raise your hand or send a mic your way. Front row, right side.
Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. Cassius, when Izzo told you it was time to take over, how do you do that while keeping within yourself? I mean, you answered with a couple of three-pointers and a floater in there, but
and a steal.
When you have that green light, how do you do it and stay solid?
You know, it's just more about your energy level, your approach, you know, just, you know, focusing in on the task at hand. You got to make some big plays. You know, you got to, you know, I got to be who I am for this team. You know, that's my role for this team. That's what I've been doing all year. So I don't try to do too much. I don't try to, like, put the, you know, world on my shoulders, but I try to make plays to the best of my ability.
Go on the left side.
Travis Hines, Ames Tribune. Xavier and Nick, when you see Cassius go on that run to push it back to 16, what's your reaction to that in the moment?
Start with Nick first.
You know, it was big, you know, because they went on a little run, but when Cassius went on a scoring spree, you know, it just put us up big.
For me, that's just typical Cassius. That's just what he does. Whenever we need him to score, whenever we need him to distribute, whenever we need him to just lead vocally, he does whatever we need him to do. And that was just another day in the park.
Question on the right side there. Go ahead, sir.
Jim Manson, WEKTV. Cassius and Nick, where are you health-wise, and how bad do you need some rest? Having a few days off sound good for you guys?
Nick first.
Well, I'm just getting back to swing of things. You know, I was out 4 weeks, so I'm just excited to be on the court. You know, I'm starting to feel like my regular self again, so I'm good personally.
You're not.
Yeah, I knew this was going to be a grinder weekend, you know, just because we came off that the tournament game, those 3 games in a row, and then feel like we just got right back into playing. So I knew it was going to be a grinder weekend, but I was okay in the games. You know, I made it through the games. I feel like I did pretty decent. So now we got some time to get back home, a couple of days, you know, get some treatment, get a little bit of rest, and, you know, by next go around, I'll be fully ready.
Go on the right side, front row.
Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. Xavier, I'll ask you, Sweet 16 for your team, your first one for a lot of your guys. Your thoughts about getting that far at this point?
I'm just excited, more so because my freshman year, you know, it didn't end the way I was hoping to. So I'm just excited that we were able to advance past this point, and more so for our program, not being able to pass this point in 3 years, to be able to do that and kind of break the curse for us feels pretty good.
Other questions for our student athletes? If there are no other questions, guys, go ahead and enjoy celebration in the locker room. Thank you very much. Best of luck in the future. This time we'll take questions for the head coach on the left side aisle.
Tom, 5 games in 8 days, right? Your energy and focus, the way you guys came out, how surprised, or were you surprised by that?
I was surprised for the first 10 minutes, and then, as all coaches would be, disappointed. I mean, we had 11 turnovers at halftime and really talked about it. So, one thing about my team, they listen well. We had 11 turnovers the second half too, and so that part was disappointing. But the focus early, the execution early, we got our fast break going. I'm a little concerned because, he's struggling. I mean, Nick is. If I was to be honest with you, that wasn't the best I've seen Cassius play. And if he can do that, not playing his best, that bodes well. But we're going to have to get him some rest in these next couple of days. That was they had 5 games in 9 days. We had 5 games in 8 days. And at this high level, when you're playing the teams you're playing for what's at stake, it's both mentally and physically grinding, and I don't know. It was tough, and yet, I was happy that Cassius answered the bell, But we had some other guys that played pretty well. I mean, McQuaid and Aaron Henry were, I thought, really good. I mean, we probably should have had them here. They probably played as good as anybody.
Stay on the left side on the aisle.
You guys all but limited or shut Kalsher down. How were you able to keep him really from even getting any good looks at all? I mean, a lot early you tried to force it, and then after that there was almost nothing. Why were you guys so effective?
Well, we did know that we put Aaron on Jordan. I mean on Coffee, and if you think about it, I'm putting a freshman lately on their best, and then because we thought McQuaid could stay with him, and Kelcher is he's been on fire. I mean, they've been really good lately, but them too, they wore down in the Big Ten tournament, and then with the back injury to Murphy, I don't want to take all the credit because I told Richard before the game, being one of the elder coaches in this league, it's fun for me to see some of these teams, the job he did, when they almost pronounced him dead there in the middle of January. And when you can bring your team back from something like that, and he had a lot of injuries, and I know what that's like, that speaks volumes of the coach. And I give him a lot of credit, and I give us some credit, but we were really focused early, and we lost some focus. And some of it was Cash, and he said he was worn down. And I always tell him when the head goes, the body follows. He's our head. And then when he got back on the horse, the rest of the guys did. And it's pretty cool that he's got that much impact on our team.
Left side. Have 4 minutes left in this session.
Cassius, Ames Tribune, Travis Hines. Cassius obviously had those 7 points in a row, but he also had a steal and a deflection that led to another steal. How was he able to impact the game on that end of the floor?
Well, that's what I said. If you watched them, and it's very hard to self-evaluate. It's very hard to see yourself while you're playing. But we were sitting on the bench. He just looked like he was hardly moving. And, and I guess if I was to be transparent, which sometimes gets me in trouble, but I will do it anyway, he was hurting, He just was worn out. And I said, well, here's the way it is, my man. We got, 20-some minutes left. If you're worn out, you'll get a lot of rest. If you're not worn out, you got another week or so, and then you'll get a lot of rest anyway. So how about if we get after it and try to prolong this? Because it's like I tell people, sleep's overrated. You can do it for 1,000,000 years later on. And that's kind of what I told Cassius about how he was doing. And I just love the fact that he responded. I mean, he wouldn't have responded like that 2 years ago, if you ask me. He responded, and I know how he felt. And yet I also know what he did. It was pretty impressive.
Front row, right side.
Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. Tom, I'll ask you the same question since we're running out of time here. I think that's 14 Sweet 16s for you in 22 years. Does it feel like some of the other ones? How do you feel about it now?
Well, this one feels better, I mean, we were disappointed in 16. We had the real good team, and we got beat by a team that played better in Middle Tennessee. The next year, when people say we didn't get there, I mean, we had all those injuries to our bigs, and I thought we did a hell of a job to get in the tournament. And then last year, you know, so many issues. But I look at these guys, and these guys have won 60 games now in 2 years. And that's a hell of an accomplishment. And getting back to the Sweet 16, there's nothing like playing when it stays daylight longer. You come out of those practices now and the sun's still shining. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
I have time for one more question. Back front row.
Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. It seems like you have to, Nick Ward has to learn to play again, and the team has to learn to play around him. Got 20 minutes in, but I counted maybe 6 turnovers in the first half when you were trying to get it back into him. That's the next thing you guys going to have to work on, I would imagine.
Yeah, you know, I mean, think about since Nick's been back, we had 2 practices before the Big Ten tournament. Then we've had really about 1.5 practices since then. Now to go back Sunday, probably take the day out, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get the actual practice. That's going to be good for him. And, you know, I think the guys were pretty cool that they wanted to get the ball into him. They know he's been hurting as far as, you know, he was averaging 17, 18 points a game, and it's taken away from you, and you want to get it all back in one possession. And, you know, I thought he was really good early. Then all of a sudden he started forcing a few things, and then he settled down late, and that was a big step to keep him in there late. So I'm happy for Nick. You know, it's not easy to do what he's trying to do, and it's not easy for our team. I mean, you know, we reinvent the wheel 15 times this year, and now maybe we don't have to reinvent it. We just have to firm it up a little bit and do a little bit better job of getting these guys to feel comfortable with each other. Why we turned it over like we did, I mean, I've never seen Cassius throw hook passes into guys' arms 3 times, or Kenny sit there and throw it into guys' arms. They either had hellaciously long arms, or my guys were in the fog there a little bit, and I think maybe a combination of both. I give them credit. But, you know, even when they bounce back and cut it to 9, not as easy as you think then to get back off the carpet and do what we did either. I mean, it has been a brutal 8 days, and I'm just proud as hell of my team for doing it and the way everybody's responding. And now looking forward to going to Washington, D.C. You know, that'll be a treat. I guess we got LSU. I guess that's already been determined. Is that right? And another challenge. So thank you. And let me say this. They told me when I got here that this was a heck of a place to hold one of these, not the biggest city and this and that, but it was awesome. And whoever was in charge of the weather, that's probably you, did a hell of a job, man.
I don't take credit for
I
that.
got my
Thank you.
little walks in.